The war in Ukraine has caused a massive disruption in oil and gas markets, with oil prices at a historic high of up to $139 per barrel. The African continent, which is home to at least 10 oil and gas producers, is feeling the impacts of this disruption to energy markets, with implications in the immediate and long term. Rising oil prices are resulting in windfall revenues for oil and gas rich countries like Angola and Algeria. Rising prices could help alleviate some of Angola's fiscal pressures, given that 90% of the country's export revenue is derived from oil. Algeria is already a top supplier of natural gas to Europe and stands to benefit from the surge in prices. While its Maghreb Europe gas pipeline is offline at the moment because of sour relations with Morocco, Algeria's three pipelines can still transfer up to 42 billion cubic meters per year to Europe. However, not all African oil producers are benefiting from the high oil prices. Despite being the continent's largest producer, Nigeria is not benefiting from the boom per se due to declining oil production at just 60% capacity, oil theft of around 150,000 barrels a day, and massive fuel subsidies. High inflation rates, alongside skyrocketing prices for food imports, wipe away much of the windfall gains from rising oil prices for several African oil producers. One consequence of the current crisis in Ukraine is that Europe may look to Africa as a source of alternative energy supplies. While Europe has been quite hesitant recently to finance oil and gas projects abroad to encourage a green transition at a time of climate change, this crisis could make European leaders to reconsider their position. However, the absence of necessary infrastructure to transport hydrocarbons, particularly from countries south of the Sahara, could temper this renewed European interest. Key infrastructure such as gathering systems, processing and storage facilities, interstate pipelines, and import terminals would take years to construct and cost hundreds of billions of dollars. The longer-term implication for new oil and gas producers in Africa is that they may finally look to European financiers to receive the investments needed to develop these projects. Mauritania, Mozambique, Namibia, Senegal, Tanzania, Uganda, among others, are currently sitting on reserves and waiting on the financing, among other factors, of course, to begin production. Nigeria exemplifies the difficulty in increasing production and transportation of natural gas to Europe. Russia's invasion of Ukraine has brought more visibility on a proposed trans-Saharan pipeline running from the Niger Delta in southern Nigeria to Algeria and then on to Europe. But the pipeline would run through insecure stretches of land, increasing risk of disruption and driving up construction costs. Another project, a proposed Nigeria-Morocco pipeline along the coast of West Africa, would be less exposed to security risks, but faces technical challenges that threaten commercial viability. Still, rising European demand in concert with rising domestic LNG production capacity does present a massive opportunity for expanding Nigerian gas exports over the next few years that may help ensure that infrastructure developments receive the political support and financing required to bring them to completion. In conclusion, any benefits for African oil and gas producers could be temporary, as preoccupation by major powers on security of energy supplies could accelerate decarbonization and investment in renewable energy industries. The current shock demonstrates once again the need for African countries to prioritize economic diversification in order to reduce their vulnerabilities to oil price volatilities. They can harness these natural resources to build jobs creating and sustainable industries at home in their countries.